Look at this. All new reporting this hour. As we learn, the surge of migrants under the Biden administration is the largest in U.S. history, 60% of which are illegal.
Griff Jenkins joins us with a look at the staggering numbers. Griff, what do you know?
Yeah, well, good morning. And Lawrence, this comes as probably no surprise to the entire nation who have watched before their own eyes the past 4 years of the border crisis. Fox has covered it on the ground and from our drones, and you have seen it. And now the New York Times is crunching government data, realizing that this border crisis may go down in the history books as the biggest story of the Biden administration. The Times took a deep dive into that government data and found the surge is the largest in U.S. history, surpassing the great immigration boom of the late 1800s. They say annual net migration, the number of people coming to the country minus the number leaving, averaged 2.4 million people from 2021 to 2023, according to the Congressional Budget Office. And they found that the total net migration during the Biden administration is likely to exceed 8 million people. In the article, they write this: that's a faster pace of arrivals than during any other period on record, including the peak years of Ellis Island traffic when millions of Europeans came to the United States. Now, their analysis did, as you mentioned, Brian, include both legal and illegal immigration, and found 60% of immigrants who have entered the country since 2021 have done so without legal authorization. All of this comes as President-elect Trump is set to hit the ground with a mandate on day one with a plan for mass deportations. After all, Trump says that after mass illegal immigration, you're going to need mass deportation. But one thing is for sure, finally, even the New York Times is putting it front and center that this crisis has led to unprecedented numbers. And they found also, when you look a little deeper, that the U.S. foreign-born population has increased to over 15%, the highest ever on record as well. And interestingly, I'll leave you with this. They went through a section where they say, well, what may have caused this? They write, the welcoming immigration policy during Biden's first 3 years in office as the primary cause of the border crisis. Guys?
Knocked you over with a feather, Griff. What a sentence, right? Did you circle that and say no idea?
So, Griff.
So much insight from the New York Times.
I know
it's amazing.
Griff, clearly, and you've covered this for years, nobody knows it better. Clearly, the New York Times is trying to explain to their baffled readers why Joe Biden lost. And, immigration was one of the top two issues. And now it's like, oh, so many people in the country illegally, and Americans don't like it.
Well, and what's remarkable is that the New York Times, I would guess, really, that they realized where the American people are, and we saw that in the election results. And I do think that the border crisis will go down in the history books years from now as the biggest story of the Biden era. What's really remarkable, though, and I just got back from the border last week, is that you still have these mayors that are saying that they will not cooperate with ICE and the feds when they try and go after the over 1 million illegal criminal aliens that pose a public safety risk. You just had yesterday in San Diego County, 3 out of 4 Board of Supervisors voting to go even further in their sanctuary policy than already on the books. It's going to be quite something to watch.
Yeah, you know why? Massachusetts, too. They spend between $1 and $2 billion, but they're going to fight Trump every step of the way because it involves Donald Trump. Not the people of Massachusetts, not the people of Boston. So we'll see. Because also heard, Griff, Tom Homan is going to take the land commissioner's offer in Texas, and he's going to make that 1.4 million acres a holding area for the illegals to be rounded up and sent out.
Yeah, and I think the logistics are going to be something we'll be covering extensively, and it's not going to be an easy task by any stretch of the mind. But one thing is for sure, the will is there, and this is what's going to happen come some 40 days from now.
Thanks, Griff.
Absolutely. Thanks, Griff.
Well, the story shows that despite all of the references that they say what's wrong with the country, that people want to come to America, which is a great thing. They want to come to America. But I think the frustration with Americans is not just the criminal element, but we got a lot of poor folks here.
Yes.
A lot of people struggling. And the fact that the illegals have become a priority versus the American citizens that are already struggling.
Yeah.
There's some angst
Not
about
just
it.
a priority. The wages of the working class have been suppressed.
Yeah.
because
That's right.
the people coming across the border are undercutting the wages
100%
of people
they
at
are.
that.
And the New York
course.
Times addresses this toward the end of the story. They have to explain, oh, there's going to be a problem. They say, but high levels of immigration do have downsides, including the pressure on society, social services, and increased competition for jobs. The CBO has concluded that wage growth for Americans who did not attend college will be lower than it otherwise would have been for the next few years because of
It would have
There's
been nice to
been-
get this report before the election.
Thank you. And also an emphasis on the 800% increase in Chinese nationals that have come over. We talk a lot about the Hispanics, the Venezuelan, that was the biggest.
China knows.
China knows. And also, we're having this drone issue. We don't know what's going on. We have just in 2023, 24,000 military-age men from China were encountered by our Border Patrol. We don't know how many since then. We don't know, how many, what they're doing here. But we know we have problems. And Alejandro Mayorkas, when I asked Congressman Jimenez earlier in the show, I said, who is the one person, other than Joe Biden, what agency most responsible? He said, Alejandro Mayorkas. This is Homeland Security. So as he's distracted dealing with this created crises that he created along with Joe Biden, he can't protect us from drones or let us know what's going on.
Obama sent out 400,000. Trump 300,000 deported back. He's going to beat both those records combined.
Well, Lawrence,
57% of the American public is for mass deportation.
And Lawrence, you said it would have been nice to have heard that story from the New York Times ahead of time before the election. Donald Trump told us these things all the time, and that's one of the reasons why he got elected. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.